Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you guys all for being here so very, very much. You're going to have to excuse me. I'm a little off my game. Um, Alice has been sleeping on top of my head, but she takes up like 90% of the pillow. So I've been sort of sleeping kind of like bent around her, and I have the worst crick. I don't know. It's so bad in my between my neck and my shoulder. Like I can only turn my head to the right. I cannot turn it left at all. So apparently I'm flexible, but not that flexible. Or maybe I'm flexible, but not for 8 hours, 9 hours straight. So I'm a little thrown off by that because it kind of hurts. But anyway, I want to get started right away. I'm going to bring up MJ. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Thank you all so very much for being here. I appreciate it very much. I have one little bit of business to take care of really quick, and then we can get started. Ready? Here we go.
And Kai, when you're on Jen Lou's channel, what do you do with the like button?
Smash, smash, smash! Yeah.
All right, y'all. So smash, smash, smash. Yeah, that like button, please. Oh, thank you very much, Curious Christine. I appreciate that very much. That's incredibly generous of you. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let me bring up Melissa. This will be Melissa's very first time on the channel. She and I have paneled up before, but we've only ever paneled up on her channel. And so yeah, so I welcome Melissa. If one of the mods would drop Melissa's link in the chat, I would appreciate it. I don't know if I added you to Nightbot or not.
Oh, it's fine.
No, I need to because I'm part of yours. It's rude.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
I'm
excited. Really fucked up my neck though, MJ.
You don't fold and bend as good as we think you do, huh?
Apparently, ever since I had that birthday, not so much.
Oh my god, that's funny. So it's a cat?
It is a cat. She's in my here, I'll put it in the I don't know if you'll be able to see it from StreamYard. You might be able to. Where is she? Right here. Oh, it's this little chicken nugget over here. She's a black and white tuxedo cat. She's a whole heathen.
Aww.
I love her though. She's my best friend, but still, she makes it really hard to sleep. I don't know why she never used to do that before. Melissa, you don't have to do that, babe. Thank you so much.
I love that clip. That's a great clip.
The one of Kai?
Yeah. Well, it's smash.
Yeah.
Smash. Did you watch that documentary?
Oh, yes.
And
so I actually have Kai's interrogation and his like the files from his court case. And I have been meaning to get a documentary together with all that for the longest time. Good. I need to. I just got, over, I don't know. I don't have good time management skills is really the truth. That's really what it's about.
There was a case that somebody just emailed me about, asking if I've ever heard it because it reminds them of Letitia. Oh, crap. What's the name of the case? I wanted to ask if you... Let me see. It was about a dad. I think it was about... Let me see.
Oh, wow, Lisa. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay. So it's...
a neat noodle. What, babe? Go ahead. Sorry.
Dakota, the case... Oh, I'm sorry. The case has been Dakota Collins, a 6-year-old boy, I guess, who was killed by his dad, but there were 2 grown women in the house that encouraged like the torture. And there are interrogation videos along with jail calls, kind of similar to Letitia. So someone had told me about that, and I never heard of the case. So I'm really excited to look into that.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that either. And so when you do look into it, let me know.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to.
I definitely want to. I'll be there for that. Although that I can't. The kids' cases are the hardest for me. I mean, I think that's for everybody. I just can't. It's hard. It's hard.
Definitely are. Oh, is it Kathy? Yeah, I have to look into it, but I'm starting to get like this appreciation for the interrogation videos and the court stuff, because that's stuff that I didn't always go down, but they're very telling, you know, like that's really when you see a lot from someone.
Yeah, you're right. You know, Nay is saying that it's not a YouTube friendly. The case of Haley, her last name's on the tip of my tongue and I never can remember it. She was like 8 or 9 years old. This happened in Springfield, Missouri. She was set to play with Gypsy, who at the time would have been like 20 or 21. They were supposed to have a play date, but she was, kidnapped and then subsequently murdered. And I started looking into that case, and it's absolutely not YouTube friendly, but I am going to cover it. It'll just be on Patreon.
Patreon. Yeah.
That's what I have to do, you guys. I wish, I mean, it's YouTube's rules. I'm just playing by them. So.
Oh, wow, Kimberly. Yeah, everyone's saying it's the worst I've ever seen. Okay. And thank you for the heads up. But now, yeah, jeez.
Wow, I haven't heard about it. Wow.
Neither have I, which I'm pretty surprised.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start where it all began. Okay. We're going to listen to the 911 call. Now, all of this can be found right here. I'm going to put it in the chat. This is where the video is from. And there's a whole playlist of the stuff that I'm going to use. And I will add it to the description after the live is over. But we don't need to hear all of the 911 call. We're just going to, it's only 8 minutes. So if I speed it up, we might be able to hear all of it because it is kind of ridiculous. And I kind of feel like maybe we do need to hear it. Hang on a minute. I want to not make it magenta. I think we'll use red for Crazy Pants. Boone. But yeah. There we go. All right. Are you ready, Melissa?
I am ready.
All right. Here we go. Oh, I didn't even speed it up. Just going to speed it up a little bit because she's kind of hard to hear anyways or understand sometimes. All right. Come on. All right.
What is the location of your emergency? 4748 France Court, apartment 3.
4748, what's the street name?
France, FRANTD.
And the apartment number?
3.
Is this a police or medical?
My boyfriend is dead.
Okay, send a line for the fire department. Do not hang up.
All right. Straight out the gate, we've already got somebody who's clearly unemotional, not panicked at all, which you can take one way. You can take one of two ways. You can say she's unemotional because she's cold and calculating, or you can take it as she's trying to maintain in an effort to convey the important facts of the situation to get her boyfriend help. So, but I'll let you guys be the judge at the end of this 911 call. But this is where it starts back in 2020. All right, here we go.
Sorry, risk. This is location emergency.
That's 32.
No, please don't leave.
4748 France Lane, apartment 3.
France Court.
France Court.
Yes.
Okay, just near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay, fine, okay.
It's Hillwood Park Apartments.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and
Mm-hmm.
I put him in his case when we were playing, and
Okay.
like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3.
Apartment 3?
Yes, like he has like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know if like he had like an aneurysm or what happened.
Right, okay, all right, okay. Listen, we're getting help out there too. All right, okay. Okay,
Right now?
okay, listen, we're on our way out there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay, is he hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is the person, ma'am? 42-year-old male. All right. Okay, we're sending help out there. Sheriff's Office anybody out there?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry?
Yeah, okay. All right, listen to me. Okay, I just need to confirm this. All right, I understand. I just need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay.
But nothing happened. He's purple.
Okay, listen to me. There's a defibrillator available. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
You have an AED available?
No.
All right. You're right by him now.
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay. Lay him flat on his. Okay, ma'am, listen. So listen, is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff. And
Right.
he's
Okay.
purple.
All right. Listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Okay, and this is going to go on for the next 5 minutes. Basically, the operator, the 911 dispatcher, is going to tell her, please give this, give her instructions on how to give CPR. She's going to pretend that she's giving CPR, arguing about CPR. It's going to go back and forth for the rest of the whole time. I'm going to skip forward a little bit, but one thing that you need to know is this. When she says, no, please don't leave in the very beginning, she's talking to her ex-husband. What had happened was Sarah was supposed to that afternoon pick up their son from school. And the ex-husband will go on later in his own interview to tell us that Sarah can be a bit unreliable on her days to pick him up. And so he wasn't 100% sure that she would do it. So he started calling her and he called her a few times, and then she answered the phone, and then she went downstairs, and that's when she found George. So then she calls the ex-husband back to come to the house with her, to come over to the house to be there with her. So he is there while the 911 call is going on, but he is standing. You can't see it from this picture, but if you're facing the suitcase, to the left is the entryway to the apartment. It's just essentially like, I don't know, a little square of tile and then the front door. Yeah, it's like not anything huge or anything, but he is adamant that he never went farther than that.
He never stepped foot on carpet.
Absolutely. And I believe him. What do you think, MJ?
Yeah, I do believe him. But it's interesting how it's almost like right from the get-go, Sarah is frustrated that the dispatcher is not just accepting that, no, I tried, like I already tried, like she's not open at all to what, and it's, the dispatcher clearly did not understand this scenario, and that's because of Sarah, but he was way past any potential for saving.
Yes.
And for Sarah to say that, well, he's not cold, but yeah, he absolutely would have been at that point.
And I think that the dispatcher, I think you're right. Part of the reason that the dispatcher didn't understand the gravity of the situation is because of Sarah. Because she is kind of, even though she sort of starts out matter of fact, it's more important to her to get out that they were playing hide and seek the night before than he's been in the suitcase overnight. Now, if she had said that,
right,
I think the dispatcher would have understood the gravity of the situation and probably would have advised her not to disturb him and just wait there for the police and, fire, medical, whatnot.
Absolutely. But by her saying, well, no, not really cold, but stiff, the dispatcher knows if there's a potential, there's many times where emotion takes over. That is why the dispatcher is there to help guide you.
Mm-hmm.
And if he thinks that there's even a chance that he could be revived, he's going to try to help. But she, of course, did not relay completely the situation that was going on.
And also, a little bit further in this, she said that he gurgled.
Yes.
And so I think that was also confusing to the dispatcher. But we're going to skip forward a little bit, and I'm going to let you guys listen to a little bit of the shenanigans that ensue with respect to this 911 call and Sarah and counting.
32. Please hurry.
Okay, ma'am, they're getting here as fast as they can, okay?
He's stiff and he's purple.
Okay. Keep pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Just don't make me count.
Right, okay, that's fine. You do a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting here as fast as they can, along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Okay. Keep on pumping, ma'am. 1,
We were playing hide
2,
and seek.
3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on pumping for me, ma'am.
I'm not doing it. I'm doing it. Believe me, I'm doing it, okay? We were playing hide and seek.
She's not doing it.
Okay.
No, you don't
Right,
hear her out of breath. The motions,
Keep on
nothing.
pumping for me, okay?
Yeah, CPR is hard to. I mean, CPR is a workout. You're breathing for somebody else.
Right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific.
Back to it being about
What
Sarah.
happened? Like, what happened?
Okay, ma'am, just keep on pumping his chest for me, okay? They're in the parking lot. They should be up there shortly, okay?
I'm still doing it, okay?
Right, okay, good. And you found him in a suitcase, you said?
Yes. We were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep. I think they're here.
Right, just keep on pumping his chest until they take over, okay?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
Open. Come in. Can I stop pumping now?
Let them take over for you, okay?
When was the last time anybody saw him? Last night. We were playing hide and seek. He hit another. It's okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, he's been down too long. There's nothing we can record him.
And the irony of that first responder saying what she said is that I don't know how to say this other than just to say it. It's really, it kind of seems like Sarah has her told you so moment then.
Right.
Like people should just listen to me.
Well, and I think it says a lot that paramedic knew instantly.
Yes.
That he was way past saving. So that gives us a little bit of insight of what the situation must have looked like.
Yeah. And I do remember there's a report somewhere out there. I'll try to find it. I'm going to try to go like in order of how everything sort of unfolded. But there is reports that when the paramedics came onto the scene, it didn't look like any life-saving measures had been attempted by Sarah.
Right.
That essentially she's just back there counting, smoking her cigarette and drinking her Dr. Pepper.
Well, and performing CPR is very, what's the word? It could be damaging to the recipient's body because you have to apply a lot of pressure. And so they'll be able to determine a lot of times if CPR efforts were even done at all.
Correct. I mean, if you don't do CPR correctly, you can break ribs.
Yeah.
It's not, and she just absolutely wasn't doing it. And curious, Christine, if you want to respond to a specific person, type the @ sign and then their name. Don't leave a space in between the @ type their name directly, just exactly like it appears in the chat. Then when you're done with that space, and then whatever your reply is going to be. So yeah, that's how you do it. So yeah, okay. Now let me stop sharing this. I don't know, Melissa, what do you think? Should we listen to let's listen to this one. The video of the first responders following the 911 dispatch call.
Sure.
How about that one? I don't think I've heard this one.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
All right. These are all from the same playlist. Again, you guys, I'll put this in the chat. I don't think I've heard this one. And the reason, by the way, I wanted to do this is because Sarah, in her last 58-page letter / manifesto / dictionary definition of legal terms and other terms, regular everyday terms, she makes some really hefty allegations. And Melissa and I have been talking about Boone 7 years, forever, really, about what the deal is with her and what is the issue between she and her attorneys. And I am personally of the opinion that what she wants out of her attorneys is something that they cannot do legally or ethically. She does not have an actual innocence claim. Okay. That's why she's charged with second-degree murder, which means that she didn't know in the moment that she zipped that suitcase up, right? It's different than when you pick up, say, a hammer or something else equal to that, right? A weapon, obviously. That when you come at somebody with that your intent is, you should know that you run the risk of them being unalived. Okay. But a suitcase, I think they were more of the opinion that it was not something that she did with malice aforethought. She didn't regard the suitcase as a weapon that could be used to kill somebody. And so that's why she has second degree. But when they watched the videos that were found on her phone, the taunting and him asking for her to let him out, she should have known, regardless of how inebriated she was, that she should have realized, even though regardless of how inebriated she was, that he needed help. He was definitely asking for help. Yeah. And so that is why, even though she's charged with second-degree murder, she faces life without the possibility of parole. So she does not have an actual innocence claim at best. And this is what her sixth attorney was going to put up as a defense, because they have a history together of domestic violence, wherein they were both at one time or another the victim and the aggressor. And although the fact of the matter is, when she zipped that suitcase up, he ceased to become a threat at that point. So that was a tenuous defense at best. What were you going to say, babe?
No, yeah, exactly. And I thought it was interesting listening to her previous attorney withdraw, and the judge explained to her that, yes, you have the right to be a part of your defense, and you have the right to make really core decisions like not guilty. But other than that, your lawyer actually does have the freedom and the right to be able to make choices for you. And you don't get to control everything. And I really thought that was interesting, because it wasn't something that I was super educated on, is that if your lawyers think a certain defense is the best for you, they're allowed to go with that defense.
I didn't know that. Well, I guess I did know that in a way, because it's sort of like when you retain an attorney, think of it as if you're signing, that's why they call it the power of attorney.
Right.
Because that person is authorized to make decisions for you on your behalf.
Yes.
And so, I'm going to look this bond.
Well, I think that's what Sarah's biggest issue is that her lawyers see that other than I don't get to communicate. And listen, she makes valid arguments. I will give Sarah credit where credit's due, and she wants to be part of every single hearing, and I'll give her that credit, and she has that right. But aside from, like, you don't answer every time I call you and X, Y, and Z, I think her biggest hang up is that her lawyers are looking at the evidence that's against her and building a defense based around the evidence and the facts. I don't think she is happy with that. I think that she wants to go in the direction she wants to go with, and circling back to what you said, a no fault type of thing, and that it's just not going to work. And that's where they keep getting hung up on.
Correct. And I think that she has unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
I think, and to answer, which I meant to start, but I didn't. Let me scroll up really quickly. You are correct, Jen. Florida is a state where no bond is offered for murder charges. She was never going to be eligible for bond. And so this, her quibbling over her attorney, she says that her attorney doesn't answer her questions while simultaneously saying she answers her questions with lies. So which is it? She's lying to you, or she's not answering you at all. Like, you need to pick a lane, ma'am, because you're not doing a very good job. But she has very unrealistic expectations.
Right.
There is, I'll tell you right now, in my opinion, if not for that, those videos that they found on her phone, I still think they would have charged her with second degree, but she would have had an opportunity for parole. And in my opinion, what Sarah needs to do, but I hope she doesn't take my advice, because I know she wants to haul her cookies up on that stand. But if the truth of the matter is, and this is probably something else that Sarah doesn't want to hear, is that what she should be doing is having her attorney work with the state to get her a plea deal that includes the possibility of parole after she's served, X amount of time.
Right.
Because at this point right now, it's, and this is the other issue I'm having with Boone. Boone is entitled to have an attorney. And if she cannot afford one, she is entitled to have one that represents her at no cost to her.
But how?
However, it's not Burger King, lady. You don't get it your way. Okay. And you have to trust that your attorney has your best interest at heart. I think that the woman the problem is the last few attorneys, particularly attorney number 6. Now, she did have some valid points with him. He did have some issues and had been cited before for not doing his work in a timely fashion. In fact, I think he was admonished at one point because he didn't file something in another murder case in a timely manner. So, he isn't without his problems, but I think what he was doing with Sarah was using the avoidance tactic,
right,
where he would not confront her and just shut it down. And I think what is happening is with Miss Cashman is putting her directly in check.
Right.
So,
well, and I asked you earlier, because I think it was Roro who asked, how many does she get allowed? And I asked Bendy the same thing earlier this morning. Like, at what point that's it? And you said, correct me if I'm wrong, like 9, this would be her 9th attorney.
Yes.
And basically, after this, you either have to go pro se or acquire your own counsel. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is what the attorney, so what I think is going to happen is the judge, and let me just also make this very, very clear. The attorney wanting to withdraw and filing it in court and all of that, that's obviously the correct order that you do these things with. What Sarah is not understanding about her specific issue is that the trial judge is not in a position to do anything respective to the behavior or the conduct or the conflict that exists between Sarah and her attorney. So think about like Letitia, and I hate bringing her up, but she did do this. So what Letitia did when she no longer wanted her first trial attorneys to handle her case anymore, and she wanted to go pro se, is that she raised an issue of conflict. And Judge Werner recused himself. He didn't hear that hearing. There was a separate attorney brought in, and a separate judge who was brought in who heard her grievances,
Right.
and is the one that decided that she needs to, that she could represent herself, and that he would appoint Tellini to be her, what's it called? Why am I drawing a blank?
It was her, it was basically her, I don't know what the official.
Her helper.
Yes, like along the pro se journey, guiding her.
Her advisor. He could
advise
advise her.
Yeah.
Coach her from the sidelines, as it were. And that is certainly possible for Boone as well. She could represent herself and have an attorney there on the sidelines assisting.
See,
but
I don't
she
think
doesn't
she
want that. She
yeah,
doesn't.
as much control as she wants, I don't think she wants to go pro se. She just wants an attorney which again, the judge explained this to her, that with a public defender, you are not their only case, that they are juggling other cases going to trial at the same time. So that have the expectation that they're going to be able to at least do a weekly call with you and touch base. You can't set those expectations. Yet at the same time, Sarah can't have an attorney where disconnected phone and there's no way to get in touch with you. I don't agree with that either. But there has to be a middle ground.
Correct. And see, the thing is with attorney number 6, I think he was just simply not accepting the collect calls because they were probably innumerable. And the fact of the matter is it's not like it was like a prepaid situation, okay, which costs less per minute. This was a collect call. And it's on the attorney's dime. The public defender's office does not reimburse these attorneys for those calls. They're on their dime. So it's more efficient to have like an account set up. But I think that this number 6, I didn't mean to unhighlight that. Number 6 just didn't want to I think he didn't want to deal with her, to be quite honest with you. I think he just wanted to work to prepare her case and tell her, look, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to have a psychologist who specializes in battered spouse defense or battered spouse syndrome come in and evaluate you. Likewise, the state will have an opportunity to have their specialist come in and evaluate you too. Please cooperate. And I think that's how he wanted to handle it. And he wanted to deal with any and all issues that arose in court. He did not want to have a whole lot of, one-on-one time with Boone. And the fact of the matter is Sarah has a very difficult, and that is putting it mildly, personality,
By the way, I just figured out that if you press the space bar, it'll highlight the last comment, like comment, and then you could press it again and it'll dismiss it.
Hush your mouth. You're kidding me.
I accidentally figured it out. So yeah, if you press the space bar, it'll unhighlight, and press it again and it'll pull up the last one that you had pinned.
I had no idea. Standby counsel is what that's called. That's the technical term. Thank you, Sarah Bellum. Appreciate that.
Exactly, Blue. She wants a paid an attorney on a public defender budget. I think she wants kind of like a Jose Baez, Johnny Cochran moment where I'm going to have a bombshell lawyer who's going to figure out this little tiny space where I could get out of it, but that's not, she has so much, that video is so incriminating. It really is, you know? I don't, as a jury member, I can't imagine being able to see that, and I don't really care what you're saying because my eyes are going to absorb what I'm seeing.
Right. It's going to be, and the thing is that it's not like an incredibly long video, but it is very, very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. So I'm not going to show the videos, but the videos are available in this playlist that I will share with you guys. In fact, give me just 1 second and I'll share it right now. Let me go, because I shared it to myself. I'm not going to share them because I think we've seen them, and I think that hopefully this isn't too long. Oh, I think this is going to be way too long. I don't think it's going to let me post it. No, I don't know if that even showed up. Did it? Let's see.
It showed up in 2. I don't know if you could click it.
Yeah, let me see if I can find a different way to share it.
You could share it on maybe your community tab once the live is over. Or something.
Yeah, that's what I'll have to do, or put it in the description.
Yeah.
Good
idea.
Yeah, but at any rate, with that, thank you for being a member for 5 months, Sean. I appreciate that. Love you too, babe. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. I don't know why I just highlighted that. Oh, because it's freaking Facebook. That's why. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I just do it like this.
Yeah, touche. So both Sarah and Jorge has a long history of DV, and there are incidents where Sarah's the victim, and there are incidences where Jorge's the victim. So it goes both ways, and it's documented. So that is going, like, that's, in my opinion, is going to be her, I don't want to say best defense. That's a defense that I think that they're going to go with, is battered spouse. But again, that video is going to screw her, because the moment that Jorge was no longer a threat, she could have left, right? And she didn't.
Right.
That she sat there and taunted him.
Exactly. And that's where it's all going to be. That's the issue. That's the crux. Oh, thank you, con artist. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. That picture. I know, it's her grandbaby, and
Beauty.
I can't. It's so stinking cute.
I know.
I think that so okay. This is an interesting point that Patricia brings up. The thing about seeing the video is it makes one wonder how long he may have been begging for help before he actually succumbed. So what his actual cause of death is called positional asphyxiation.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, because the suitcase was so small and he could not move or anything in there, he suffocated. Because, and it's not, it's cruel what she did. And I would imagine that it was probably hours. I would imagine that he was probably still asking for her help when she went upstairs and accidentally laid down and went to sleep, prepared to go to bed, but didn't actually intend to go to bed. Shut up, Sarah.
Well, and she can't say that I thought he was going to be able to get out, that I left a little opening. Because let me tell you something. If he abused her and there was a threat there and there was fear there, if you left him in there and you went upstairs and you really thought he was going to be able to get out, how angry do you think he would have been if and when he did get out?
Correct.
Come on. So it's just...
The other thing is what I was starting to say about before I shared the playlist. I found how to share it. I just went to the playlist itself. Dig the Durgin. So in the 2 videos, what you can see is there are marks in the carpet, like drag marks in the carpet, and there are flip-flops that are in 2 different places. The bottom line is this: the suitcase is also in a different position. Mm-hmm. Now, the neighbors who shared the wall with Sarah and George say that they heard something that sounded like something falling down the stairs. It was loud. It was a bang. It was noisy. And I think that this was one thing that the interrogators asked her during her interrogation, was about her about the abrasions and bruises to George, because it looked like he'd been in a scuffle. And I have surmised and believe that what she did was, I think the suitcase was not downstairs.
Is it pronounced George?
It is George.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, I thought it was Jorge as well, but somebody corrected me, because that is the way that that is the way that it is spelled in Spanish.
Okay.
But, and it's pronounced Jorge, but apparently it is George.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, babe. So, this is what I think happened. I think the suitcase was upstairs. I think that after crafts and puzzle time, music mixed in with quite a bit of wine, I think Sarah got to a point, and we've all met at least one person who's like this when they drink, where they're fine up until that next glass, that next drink. And then they switch, and something switched in her. And I think that it started out as, I bet you can't fit into the suitcase. And I do think it started out as a joke.
Yeah.
And I think he got in, and I think it was all fun and games until that next drink kicked in, as it were, and the switch was flipped. And I think then she was pissed, and I think she pushed that suitcase over to the top of those stairs, and I think she pushed it down those stairs, and I think that's what the neighbors heard. And then I think she recorded that video, those two videos where she's taunting him. And I think that I don't think that it was, this is why I don't think that the battered spouse defense really applies in this case. And I don't think that the jury is going to buy that, should it be something that's presented to them. Because she's taunting him, number one. And you don't usually taunt people that you're in fear of. If you have an opportunity to escape somebody who's abusing you, and that's why you put them in there, so they would not be a threat any longer, you would leave. I think that between Sarah and George, I think they had a toxic relationship. I think that is clear. And I think that they were probably, somewhat equal partners in that toxicity. But and I think she thought he could get out. I do.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm. I do think she thought she could get out. Mm-hmm. And
but Sarah has a history with suitcases, doesn't she?
Well, okay, you're right. Talk about that. I've talked a lot, Melissa. You talk, because I wanted you to be on this panel so we could discuss.
No, I don't remember specifically what it was, but wasn't it with her son? Isn't there a CPS report documenting where she was playing? No, not a CPS report, like a video. No, it was a CPS report, and it was like a video she had posted online, something along with the suitcase and her child, right?
It has been brought up, and I have yet to see the proof of this. So that's why I'm waiting for court, because I'm going to see if they bring it up. But allegedly, there is a video that was posted to Facebook of her son in the suitcase.
Yes, that's what it was. Okay.
And, but I don't know if that's true or not. And, I think that, that's also, if that gets brought in, that's going to be highly problematic, for her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So what do you think? Do you think it took her?
I can't take MK. Look at MK.
I know.
I'm going to highlight this. I don't care. It's not okay. The situation isn't funny. It's the way that MK puts it. I just want to be clear about that, because people often misunderstand my laughter. It's just the way he's putting it is humorous. MK said she was bigger than him too. I believe she probably picked up the suitcase and did a couple tombstone pile drivers with it after she kicked it down the stairs. I'm going to get hate in the comment section. I already know. She's
I said sorry.
I just do feel like I think you're not far off though.
So you
Jen,
think it
I
was her
have
ex?
looked for the pictures of that. I cannot find it anywhere. If
I don't know if
anybody
I-
knows where these pictures exist, email it to me. It's in
Yeah.
my about section because I would like to see that. People have told me, I've been hearing that about her, that story. I've heard it for years,
Yep.
but I've never, ever, ever been able to substantiate it. Marco, Undertaker. You guys are gonna get me in trouble.
So you think she genuinely did pass out, which I could believe. I could believe that. And it took her ex calling for her to wake up and then realize the situation.
Yes. See, this is what I think happened. I think that Tracy, I think that what happened was this. I think that she taunted him for who knows how long, because we only know how long the video goes, right?
Well,
We don't know what
he determined he was in that suitcase for, what was it? How many hours? Like, I don't remember, but
I think
many hours.
Many hours. I think they said 12. I feel like 12 is the right number.
Yeah.
I'll look it up on her probable cause. But what I think happened is that she taunted him for who knows how long. And then she went upstairs and she got out of her clothes and put on her PJs. And I think that she probably just, I think when Sarah says, I didn't mean to fall asleep, I think you can safely interpret that as passed out.
Yeah.
As sometimes happens when you've been overserved, right? We've been there. We're all adults. Most of us have been there. I know I've been overserved myself. But yeah, and I think that's what happened. And I think then her ex-husband, knowing that she's unreliable and didn't trust that she would pick their son up, called to make sure to remind her, which that tells you a little something about the dynamics between Sarah, her ex, and what that was like, co-parenting. The fact that he had to remind her and not just remind her, check, like follow up. Like I don't know what that must have been like. And thank goodness he did call and check. Not that it saved George's life, because bless his heart, he was already dead. But what if he hadn't called her? And then she would have been, and she would have eventually come downstairs and found him this way. And then what would happen to her? Who would pick her son up?
Right. See, I believe she had just woken up, and I know it's such a little detail, but that cotton mouth, anyone knows.
Yeah.
When you pass out, and you wake up the next morning after drinking, you are parched, like Sarah was. And the fact that she was so thirsty, yes, of course, the situation and the stress would have contributed to it, but I don't think she had enough time with being woken up by her ex, seeing the situation and going. I think how dry her mouth was, I believe she had just woken up.
Yes. And when you see her on the body cam footage out in front of her apartments, she's not wearing a bra, okay, which I'm not judging her for, but that is indicative of somebody who just got up.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about any of you other ladies, but when I get up from nights, the first thing I do it's not on my mind immediately to put bra on. Okay, it's just not. So I'm not faulting her for that. But I think that that's what happened.
Right.
And I think the reason that she gets so offended by being called, by the detectives asking her if she was drunk, is probably because she has a problem. and she gets very defensive.
Yeah.
And I think that's why.
Yep, I agree. I just can't determine if she thought he was going to get out himself, or she didn't really process the severity of the situation and thought, I'm going to lay down for a little. You could sit in there for a bit and then passed out.
Yeah, see, this is what I think. I do think she thought he could get out. And I will say that clearly she was not, I mean, it's not that she's not accountable for her actions. She's 100% accountable.
Yep.
But I don't, and it's interesting to me because as okay, so there's a thing in recovery where they talk about after your body is free from whatever you're dependent on, right? It's then you have to work on what they call addict's mentality, addict's thinking. And that actually takes much longer to get to work through, recognize when you're doing it and work past it and no longer think like an addict. And what's interesting to me is when I read Sarah's letters, she still, in my opinion, has addict's mentality, which is interesting to me.
That is.
And yeah, I think she does. And I think that she clearly did not have all of her faculties about her that night. And I think that when she pushed him down those stairs and he ended up being upside down in the suitcase, essentially I think that is what, I don't think she thought about that and how that hindered him being able to get out.
But it flipped. And with him being in that confined space, he would not have been able to gain enough momentum to flip that on his own.
No.
So he continuously.
Yes. I mean, I think, and we also have to remember that Sarah also was prescribed, and she does say that she took her Xanax on a regular basis.
Right.
And if you take a Xanax while you are drinking, you are likely, if you drink a lot, especially, to get to a place where you're like blackout drunk, you don't remember.
Right.
And so
side effect of benzos on their own is memory loss.
Yes, exactly right. And so I don't know what her dosage was. I don't know if she took it correctly, meaning she took it as prescribed, or if she was one of those people who are like, if one is good, 3 is best. Because
take it as prescribed, when you mix it with alcohol,
yeah,
recipe for disaster.
It is absolutely a recipe for disaster. And so I do think that, drunker than Cooter Brown, not drunk as nobody's ever as drunk as Cooter Brown. Everybody's always drunker than Cooter Brown. I don't know why that saying is that way, but nobody is ever as drunk as Cooter Brown. Now, I don't know if Cooter Brown is a lightweight. I don't know, what his level is, but everybody's always drunker than Cooter Brown. But yeah, I think that I'm curious about this interview. Should we play this?
Yes.
I have not watched it, so I have no idea what this is. Just so you guys know.
What does the title say again?
The video of the first responders following the 911 dispatch call. So this has got to be like their body-worn camera.
Oh.
Or else it's, hold on. Let me see what this is. Oh, no. We've seen this. It's out front with the spigot. It's your favorite part, MJ, the spigot.
The spigot. I love it, yo. That's what I'm trying to say. That cottonmouth. She was willing to put her mouth on that spigot. She was so thirsty.
Not only
I've never.
not only that, but the way that she like maneuvered around those bushes, because you know
Yes.
it's those apartment bushes, that the prickly ones, like, it looked like she'd done that a couple of times. Like she
It
knew
wasn't her first time.
she had to navigate around those bushes to get to that spigot. It was
She was so parched. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
and
Oh
all
my
she wanted, all she wanted was her dadgum Dr. Pepper, and they
Yeah,
wouldn't give it
please
to her.
let me go and get my Dr. Pepper. Oh man. She didn't, but the thing is, she didn't even cup her hands to make a makeshift,
No,
for the water. She just full on from
no, she drank it out of the spigot the way you would drink out of a hose.
the full force, just but as funny as it is, I take that into a factor in believing that she did just wake up that daze, that panic, not understanding the full sort, because you could wake up, but if you took benzos, like it's still foggy, like
Yeah,
I just take it all as a factor of I believe she was woken up and you're kind of like, what year is it? Well, what's going on?
exactly,
She probably
exactly.
didn't even remember until she saw him there, and then it all came back to her,
Exactly, exactly. And you're 100% correct. Where is this, Debbie? Being drunk is not an excuse
No.
at all, at all. But I think, and I say this based on the charges. Now, I will say, to be fair, when district attorneys charge somebody, they don't like to not get a conviction, right? So they're gonna usually they will charge you with what they know they can convict you of, or they have a reasonably high expectation that they can prove their case and convict you. And so I think there's a reason why she was charged with second degree versus first degree, because I do think that they took into consideration the fact that she was intoxicated. She did mix benzos with alcohol. And so I don't think that, I think given those circumstances, she did not meet the requirements for deliberation under the law that would get her to first degree. I think that's why they gave her second degree.
Right.
And I do think that I do think she did think that he could get out. I do. I think what she wasn't taken into consideration is when she pushed him down those stairs, or the suitcase down those stairs, that when it landed the wrong way, it made it, how was he supposed to get out? The flap is on the bottom.
And the injuries he had head trauma, right?
Right.
Wasn't it shoulder dislocated?
Right.
He had, and so that would have been sustained during the fall. And that's why when the videos are being recorded, not saying that he wouldn't have already had a very serious tone, but if he had already gone down those stairs, think about how terrifying it would have been, and the panic that is in his voice, because he would have understood the severity of the situation.
Right.
And the injuries would have prevented him from being able to get out, on top of just not being able to get out of it.
Yeah, like the way that it landed, it would have been physically impossible because of how suitcases work. They have a flap.
She may have flipped it over, kind of like, go ahead, get yourself out, but he couldn't at that point.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And I think that there was another point that I had, but I forgot it, because then I looked at chat and got distracted. With her no malicious content. No malicious.
Well, and I think that she didn't also take into factor how serious, because again, with the alcohol, with benzos, but you have to understand that this was not uncommon for them. They had a very toxic relationship. This wouldn't have been the first time it escalated to a physical level. And so you become a bit desensitized to it, and That's what I see
Exactly.
with Sarah.
Exactly. And I was going to say that I had a point about the hide and seek story, but first let's hear from Sarah herself.
No malicious.
Okay.
She's not a dumb woman. She isn't.
No, she's not dumb, but she does stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what I think. I think that Sarah doesn't actually remember what precipitated him getting into that suitcase. And I think that's why she's going with hide and go seek. Because I think in her brain, that's the only thing that makes sense to her, except for the fact that hide and go seek doesn't work if the seeker is helping the hider to hide.
Right.
Otherwise, what's the
Go
point?
stand behind that curtain. I'll count to 10, and then I'll
Right.
find you. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that it was more of a dare situation. I bet you can't.
Right. I bet you can
And
sit there. Yeah.
exactly. Or like Kathy said, maybe she pulled a jigsaw.
Yeah. I want to play a
Want to
game.
play a game?
Mm-hmm.
Right now,
Do
there's
you
a
think?
suitcase in the
Oops,
closet. I don't know why I needed to go extra and be say some more words as part of it, but my brain was like, it has to come out of your mouth.
Do you think she even remembers she recorded those videos until they confronted her with them?
No,
Mm.
I think that I used to. I used to think that she did until I probably like the second time I watched it when I roasted her. I was paying a lot more attention, and there is a bit of a look of shock and repulsion on her face. Like she's shocked and repulsed by what she did. I don't think that she remembers it.
Mm.
And then and then I forgot. They don't show her both the videos. They only show her the one. They only show her the one where he's calling for her. And when I actually watched the videos by themselves, that's when I sort of realized I'm very curious how they're when they're presented in court, if they were taken back to back immediately, one after the other, or if there's time in between them.
Well, there has to be some amount of time, right? Because it was in different positions.
This is true. But I mean, I'm talking about like more than a couple of minutes. I'm talking about 15, 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right. Because that's going to bury her even more.
Yes. So that's
11 minutes, Jen said.
It's probably in the probable cause. I probably did know at one point.
It's been so long.
It's been a long time.
The trial was right around the corner, and then it keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed.
It's supposed to be in October of this year.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't know. It makes me, I've been thinking about it quite a lot, but I have to say something first because I have to get this out of my brain or it's going to really drive me nuts. All day long, you know what song has been stuck in my head?
What?
I got hoes in different area codes. I don't know why. All day long. It's all I've been singing. I got hoes. God, Jen, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I knew if I didn't, maybe if I sing it out loud to you guys, it might come out. It might stop. It might stop. But that's what's been driving me crazy all day. Did they say 11 minutes in the interrogation? I have to go back and revisit that interrogation. It's been a while. We'll definitely, I plan to do more. I plan to cover this for a minute because I'm interested in it. I mean, I've always been interested in Boone. It needs a good deep dive. And I'll say this too, with respect to this situation, I think with the attorney, I think what's going to end up happening is the judge is going to set a hearing, and I think he's going to hear the attorney out, and he's probably I think he's likely to go ahead and grant it
Again.
And I think that's why there hasn't been a hearing set, because this is what I think is going to happen. I think that he's going to appoint a new attorney right then. And so
that's what he did last time.
Right. And so because if you think about it, this attorney's done quite a bit of work and she's willing to turn it over to the new attorney. Yeah.
Okay.
And she's willing to do it immediately. So, which is good, because we're at the end of June. So let's just say for all intents and purposes, we're into July. So we still have all of July, August, September, and 4 months. This is not that complicated of a trial of a case, really. It's not death penalty. 3 months, is plenty of time for another attorney to come in and take over. Worst case scenario, it gets pushed back to November. The judge gives them an extra month, but the DA, Cacciatore, has like a lot on his plate. And so Sarah needs to get her poop in a group and quit playing around. She's not, there has to be compromise. She is not going to get everything that she wants.
I've never seen anything like this though, Bundy, where you've gone through so many lawyers. And do you think that this is at this point a tactic she is using? I don't know what she can get from it, but the trial keeps getting pushed off and off and off. What happens essentially? Because let's say she ends up going pro se, right? And then she gets a guilty plea. Could she then file an appeal for ineffective counsel? She did not want to go pro se, but essentially she was not provided. Can this work in her favor somewhat down the line? I don't know. I'm asking.
I think that the danger would be in not, okay, if she's adamant, and hold on, before I answer you, you're correct, Anna. The judge has not set a hearing yet for the motion to withdraw. I think that he likely will. He's not going to just ignore it. It's a motion. He has to hear it. He has to address it. So he just has not yet. And I was listening to the end of the last meeting, and everybody's schedules were pretty busy. The counsel is not the problem, but here is the problem. Sarah, under our Constitution, has the right to be represented by an attorney. And I don't think that there is anything that I'm aware of. Now, let me preface this by saying I'm also not an attorney.
Right.
So I don't know all the rules of criminal procedure in Florida. I don't know what remedies are available to the court and what they have to do before they can use those remedies. But she does have the right to representation. And I think what happens is the judge and Sarah, or no, I shouldn't say Sarah. I think the judge is always hopeful. And I think that's why he appointed a female, because I think he thought that if she was working with a female, that it might work out better. But if she does continue to push it, after so many, and I believe the magic number is 9. Good night, Lil Red. I believe that the magic number is 9. I believe that if he appoints a 9th attorney, if this attorney can't work, if she cannot, it's not the attorney's fault. If she cannot work with this attorney, then he might say, well, you got to go pro se, and I'll appoint you advisory counsel. However, there are, I think, 3 attorneys that filed a motion to withdraw that are not Sarah's fault. Okay. So the first attorney that she had was a public defender. She wanted a private attorney. She got a private attorney. Then the private attorney, I guess I'm gonna have to look at it. He did file a motion to withdraw.
Mhm.
Then she got another public defender. That was attorney number 3. I think it was because she couldn't pay the private attorney. Attorney number 3 and 4 and 5, in some capacity, either themselves represented George or another witness in the case. And it was a conflict of interest. There were 3 of those. Okay. So we have, one was a private, one was public, 2 was private, 3, 4, and 5 were a conflict of interest. 6 she had for quite some time before he Bankowitz, and he took a rash of shit because
Yep.
there was the majority of those letters that are available on the website, on the county clerk's website, are from are about Bankowitz. That was number 6. Then it was Hobbs, I think, and then now number 8 is Cashman. So technically, she's had Bankowitz, the last 3, maybe even 4 if you count the private attorney, because there was some kind of issue between them too. So she's had 4 that have actually, Hobson, thank you, KPM, that have withdrawn due to conflict, due to conflict between irreconcilable differences between them and Sarah. So does that mean then that she has 5 more to go? Does she have 5 more chances?
Right. I've never seen, that's what I'm curious about it, because I don't know what the outcome would be in this situation.
Yeah, see, I don't know, I don't know what the court can do to admonish her. And it's upsetting because George's family are waiting for this. They're waiting for justice. For
his mom.
Me too.
She's never watched the video, like my heart breaks for her.
Exactly. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. I don't know if hold on a second. I don't know what they're going to do with this. I think that it's a tricky situation because not only did Patricia Cashman cite essentially irreconcilable differences, but she also cited that she's working on other cases and she cannot be there 25/8 for Sarah. I mean, it was a lot of fancy talk, but that's basically what it meant. So it's, a whole other thing, so.
Interesting, Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'll have to look. See, I did a live about the attorneys and I went through each one of them. And at that point, Bankowitz had just filed a motion to withdraw.
I remember.
So at that point, I was up to number 6. So I don't remember. I mean, but I can't remember off the top of my brain right now. I should have pulled this up because
I'm the type of way where as I'm actively covering it, I could know a case front to back. But as soon as a little bit of time passes and I move on to something else, I can't remember it anymore. I struggle with details and it sucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but mostly it's because we ended up talking, just having a conversation, and instead of like me playing a bunch of videos and us going over that, which I actually prefer. So I wasn't as I didn't refresh my brain.
Right.
I didn't hit the refresh button, y'all. I'm very sorry. I'm still buffering. But people, I think this is a very, very difficult case.
Yeah.
And in a defense attorney's job is to make sure that their client's rights, that the client receives, that their rights are respected.
Right.
Their rights to due process under the Constitution are there, that they're afforded that. That's what their job is. I don't know if Sarah thinks that their job is to convince a jury that, that she's not guilty. Sarah, bruh, you are guilty. You did. He didn't zip himself into that suitcase. Okay. And you made a video taunting him. So you are culpable. And you need to deal with that. Like, I don't understand I
don't think she wants to. I think that's where the hanging up is happening. Yep.
Oh, it will be, they've already granted there to be cameras in the courtroom. When they start showing the pretrial, as long as there's not a lot of interference and people don't act a fool online, and it doesn't hinder and, impede the court's business. Florida is very good about letting cameras in the courtroom, and they have been showing all of the pretrial stuff that's been going on. So, I think so. Anna, you think that the judge is going to deny the motion to withdraw and have Patricia Cashman
I thought he
represent her anyway?
Because we were so close to trial with Bankowitz, I was like, no way is this judge going to approve his withdrawal so close, because it was going to but he did. So I don't know. And that's why I'm so curious, because it's like, ooh, this is a tough position for the judge to be in also, because she has that right. She has the right to be appointed counsel. And if you go forward and say, no, you can't, you're going to get stuck in a situation, I can imagine, where appeals, because she's going to go pro se. Then it's ineffective. She wasn't capable of putting on her own defense. I don't know. I don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Oh, it's a PDF. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
And especially since the lawyers are asking to be removed, right? It's not even Sarah.
Right, exactly. It's not up to Sarah. Listen, maybe I misstated, or I got confused, or I misstated, or it was misinterpreted. But Sarah, this is not Sarah's choice. Sarah does not get to decide anything. Patricia Cashman, who is her attorney, is the one that filed the motion to withdraw. Mm-hmm. It's up to the judge. Either the judge will grant her motion to withdraw and potentially appoint another attorney, or he will not grant it, and therefore Patricia Cashman will have to stay on trial or stay on it. But Sarah, I don't think Sarah has waived her right to a speedy trial either.
She has not. Which is crazy. Like, I don't know. This whole thing is crazy. I have a feeling like at trial, it's going to go in a direction we didn't expect.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you imagine, like, these public defenders have seen the worst of the worst, I can imagine. What the hell can Sarah be doing that is so unmanageable that all of these attorneys are like, I can't handle it? Like, not even just one, not two. All of these attorneys are like, I'm out. I can't do this, And with public defenders, do they do they have a limit of how many cases that they could ask to withdraw from, or is it there's no limit? Like they can't ask to withdraw from every case they're put on, right?
Yeah, but but then but again, it's still up to the judge whether, and they have to cite why they want what
Right.
they're basing their motion to withdraw on. And look at what happened with Daybell's lawyer. Why can't it starts Pryor?
Yeah.
He filed a motion to withdraw before the trial, right before the trial, which was ridiculous. But basically he said that he couldn't, the case was too big. It was just him. It was too much. And, he wasn't getting paid and he needed help. And the judge was like, listen, Mr. Pryor, you have been knowing for over a year that homeboy over here is indigent. And that's why you have his house in your name. Because that's the only thing of value that he has left. Stop playing with this court. You've known this whole time. Although the judge said it in legalese and obviously much more eloquently and professional than me. But the bottom line is the judge said, no. Stop playing, Mr. Pryor. You're the one that. Yeah, no, he wasn't. The judge was not falling for that at all. And this is all going to be at the discretion of the judge. She waived her right to a speedy trial, clearly. So, look at, I'll give you a perfect, she did waive her right to a speedy trial. Sarah Boone waived her right to a speedy trial a long time ago, right when she first got arrested. Right when she had her first set, right when she first made her first appearance, she waived her right to a speedy trial.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, we would all be in big, big trouble. You can only get through, and this is where Lori Vallow Daybell, where her attorney was coming from, right? Because Lori had not waived her right to a speedy trial. Mm-hmm. And you can only put off so much for so long due to the pandemic, right? Which was happening at the same time as she was arrested and the charges and all of that. So they can only get away with, putting it off for so long. But that's not the situation with Sarah Boone. She has waived her right to a speedy trial.
Sarah is like the damn problem child, constantly being returned back to the orphanage, can't find a family that fits. But you know what I mean?
she's like that song, The Cat Came Back. Yes. Remember all this damn things they did to that cat, and they'd be like, the cat came back the very next day. Remember that song from elementary school?
I don't actually. I don't know why I said because I don't.
You don't remember that? Blocked and reported.
Sorry. But I have a feeling she's going to find her John Ritter, and there's going to be a, hey, we're not going down without a fight. I don't imagine Sarah going down without a fight. I just wish I knew, what does she expect? Like, how does she expect this to go in the courtroom?
I think that she honestly, because she's referenced this many, many times in her letters, that she wants to be afforded the opportunity to tell her story. And she's not only referenced it many times in many letters, she's referenced it several times within those letters. I think that what she thinks is, if she gets up on that stand and explains to the jury what had happened was, they will let her go. They will understand. Right. That's what she thinks.
Well, that's crazy, because even if she wants to share her story, there's still the hard truths of that video, right? And there are things that she needs to accept, and it seems like she doesn't want to accept that before, kind of like Letitia, right? I need immunity. I'm going to give you this bullshit
Right.
story that's not going to lead to anything, but I expect to be able to walk out of here.
Correct.
No.
Like I'm going to tell you some tidbits of some bullshit. And I'm going to promise you that I have this fantastic, you're going to understand all the things as soon as I tell you, but I'm going to need immunity first.
Exactly.
I'm going to need protection. And that's not how it works. You have to give a little. And I think that Sarah really is under the impression that if she just explains it was on an accident, I didn't mean to, I didn't know that that would happen, that she is, that's it. It's nice to meet you too, Ken. I think that's what she thinks. I think she labors under the delusion that all she has to say is it was on an accident.
Right.
And I'm very intelligent and I excel at everything that I do all the time. I'm the best. I feel like that song from Karate Kid when he's trained, when they're at the no, you're the best around. Nothing's going to ever keep you down. I feel like that's the little song that plays in Sarah's head all the time.
Yeah.
That she's just the best at everything. And why won't these people listen to me? And what's wrong with everybody? And thank you, Miss Rex Murphy, for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate that. Welcome to the ward.
Welcome.
You guys want me to play that video?
Yes.
The welcome video? All right, hold on. Let me get it. I'm going to work on this too. I got some way cooler ideas, but this is just a little preliminary one.
Gossip, blah, blah.
No malicious intent or effort was towards it. No malicious.
We all do a little mad sometimes.
And there you go.
So clever.
It's honestly, that's what's in my head all the time. Those are all the little different personalities that round upstairs in this noggin 25/8.
Well, I appreciate what's in your head. 25/8.
Thank you. That's like if you guys had a little glimpse up into Bindy's noggin, that's what you'd see. A little bit of Vader, crazy gremlin.
Wait, when she says
ladies from Friday.
It was well put together.
Cute.
I love how random it is. When she says no malicious, do you think she was trying so hard to convey that because it was genuine, even though the whole situation was messed up? But do you think when she was like, no malicious, it's because she really didn't intend for this to happen and that was her best way to convey it? Like, do you think she's being genuine there?
Yes, I think what she's trying to explain to them is, and they agreed with her, this was not premeditated. So best you got me on is second degree. And they agreed, and that's what they charged her with.
Right.
I think that she thinks that if it was not done intentionally and there wasn't malice in her heart,
no accountability.
That you're allowed to have an accident. Now, that being said, I think if they did not have that video, I think it would have been harder to prove.
Yes.
It would have been harder to prove.
Well, I have a family member who is a cop, and it was a horrible story, but it always reminds me of Boone because it was a family with their children who were playing hide and seek, and the child went missing. They could not find the child and never saw the child again until the following summer when they went to go take out the summer supplies from the garage, and they pulled out the cooler and the child was in the cooler. So he went to go hide in the cooler, shut it, and was unable to get back out. So every time Sarah says the hide and seek, it's not the same situation at all, but it always reminds me of that because that, accidents do happen, but Sarah's situation is nowhere near a situation like that where it was an accident.
No, okay. This is the difference between first degree murder and second degree murder. Okay. First degree murder means that whatever it was that you used, whether it was a hammer, your bare hands, a firearm, something like that, when you picked that up or put your hands on that person, that you knew what you were doing, there was a reasonable expectation that the person that you were doing it to wouldn't survive. Okay. Second degree murder, and this is why it's second degree murder, because while what she did was cruel, which is why it's enhanced and she's eligible for life without the possibility of parole instead of the possibility of parole, is because suitcases by and large are not something that people think of as something that can kill you. Right. It would be different if, say, she told, if she locked him in a chest freezer that was no longer working, or something like that. Then you would have the reasonable expectation to know how dangerous that is. I don't think that. I think that's why it got to be. I think that's why it's at second degree. Because I wouldn't think it would be a good idea to put somebody in a suitcase and go to bed. Whether I went to bed whether I got up, went upstairs, brushed my teeth, combed my hair, put my PJs on, got in the bed and drifted off to sleep, or I did all of those things and passed out because I was drunker than Cooter Brown. Regardless of that, putting him in the suitcase was ridiculous, but there's more to it than that, especially because of some of the injuries and what the neighbors report hearing.
Well, and in the video itself even if you thought it was all fun and games and there was no danger, let's just say, but he was conveying at that point he could not breathe, and you did nothing to help him.
But the suitcase alone cannot kill. Okay.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So when you think of a suitcase, is it a good idea? No, obviously it's a ridiculous idea. Okay. It's a stupid idea, but knowing and proving are two different things. Okay. Where you and I would be like, this is an absolute ridiculous idea. There's no way that I would. They cannot prove that George was forced into that suitcase. They can't prove that. So that's why it is second degree and not first degree, because they cannot prove that that George didn't get in there on his own volition, that he made a choice, that it did start out as a game. They can't prove that. Knowing and proving are two very different things. And so that's why they've charged Sarah with second degree murder versus first degree murder. I think we can all agree that what Sarah likely did, it was much more than, and I can't tell you for sure whether it didn't start out as a game. I don't know. I wasn't there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, RL, do you think she caused certain injuries and then put him into the suitcase?
Yes, that's a good question. Yes, that's what I want to know. RL, do you see? This is what I think happened. And while I wait for you, you do think that. What was your question again?
Some of the injuries were caused first, and he was then placed in the suitcase, and he may have woken up in there. I never even really thought of that.
I didn't even think about that either. That's a really good point, RL.
It is. because again, domestic violence was a common occurrence between them, so who's to say that it didn't start initially, and then she could have put him in there where he then woke up.
I mean, that's a really good point. Okay, now I have a follow-up question to that. Okay, if they took that baseball bat as evidence, why is it that you think that they took that baseball bat as evidence and he was hit over the head first? Like, how do I put this? How is the state going to prove that? That's what I want to ask.
Unless the ME is able to determine what injuries came first, but I don't know how she would be able to determine, unless she is able to determine with a blunt force object if it was contact to contact, like skin, or there was a barrier between, meaning he was already in the suitcase and it didn't directly,
Right. See,
that's
because
the only thing I can think of.
Right, because see what his official cause of death is listed as is what did I say? It was positional
asphyxiation. Yeah.
So they don't mention any blunt force trauma as a contributing factor.
But his nose, I forgot what it was. What was it? His nose was.
He had abrasions on his back, which Sarah said scratches is what the.
Right.
But she said it was due to rambunctious.
Right.
Hibbity dibbity.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, and then I'm going to look at that. Hold on a minute. I'm going to look into this more. This is going to be a definite part 2.
Yeah. I think you should do a full deep dive.
I'm going to have to go into the probable cause affidavit.
Yeah.
See, because it's always been my opinion, and I know that I made this opinion after reading the probable cause affidavit and then hearing that what the neighbors testified to, or reported to the cops. They haven't testified. Let me not use that word because that's incorrect. Their statements, their interviews, was that they heard the banging, that it sounded like something was falling down the stairs. That is how they described it. And so that's why I always thought that the suitcase started out upstairs and that she pushed him down the stairs.
That would be consistent. That would make the most sense in my opinion. And where the suitcase was, it was to the bottom of the stairs, right?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
The suitcase was located towards the bottom of the stairs, right?
Yeah, it was just sort of, it was at the bottom of well, no, because in that picture from the video, you can't really see where the stairs are. What you can see is that bar that's on, I guess the kitchen is on the other side of it. That's what you see. You don't really, the stairs aren't actually in the video or any pictures that have been made public that I have seen.
There's a video on YouTube that I pulled up while Bankowitz was still on, and they went into the apartment with the new people who were in that apartment, and they allowed them to do a walkthrough to see the apartment. So I know that's available to see, so you can get an idea of the.
I'll go look at that
itself.
I'll go look at that. Because, I mean, while they may have, and I'm not going to say I was not there, so I don't know.
Right.
I do think that it is interesting that they collected a bat. However, what I will say about that is this. They do sometimes collect many things during a crime scene investigation that they think could be a potential weapon. Yes. But that doesn't always mean that it turns out that it was.
That's correct. Yep.
So maybe what we should do is tomorrow night, let's compare and contrast. Let's listen to what the neighbors say. Read the part. Now, I want us to keep in mind that obviously reading the probable cause affidavit, that is limited information. That is only the information that the person applying for the arrest warrant feels is the strongest evidence. It's all they need. That's the bare minimum evidence required to secure an arrest warrant. That's it. So it's not going to be everything. It's not going to be super detailed, but I do think it would be interesting. And I've never done this before where I've put all of it together. So maybe, what do you think about that, Melissa? I know you have a members Monday tomorrow, and I'm not going to, torture you and bring you here, but what do you think about that idea? Of course, you're welcome to come up if you want to. You know that I'm always available for you.
Absolutely. I love going through this stuff, and it's been a while with Boone, and it's a very interesting, because like I said, I think as straightforward as it seems, I think that the trial is going to bring forth something to where it's going to surprise us. Not so much surprise us with, oh, that's evidence that I didn't know about, versus, is it possible that she's going to be able to convince one juror?
Right. I mean, that you are not wrong there. I mean, look, the burden of proof is going to be on the state. Oh, Bianca, I'm sorry about that, babe. That's awful. We can chill out here with us. We'll keep you company.
So sorry.
I know, that's awful. I'm so sorry. No. You're important. You are important things. I am concerned about you, but I just want you to know that maybe just for this, however long you're able to be in here, maybe we can be a distraction. But I do think it would be good to go through and listen to what she says, what the people around her, the neighbors say, what, and then what is in the probable cause. Let me go over here really quick and see what all I can get from.
Well, and the closest that we're going to get, well, they say the closest you're going to get to the truth is right initially when someone's talking. Not saying that, that body cam footage is going to be the truth, but that is when she does not have time to really think things out. I do believe that she woke up shortly before they got there. And so that is what I want to listen to the most, and then compare to what we know as facts to try to figure out what happened, because anything after that, she's had time to think. She's had, and so stories change.
Right. You're exactly right. I think that's a good idea. Let me see what I can.
It would be Debbie. The probable cause will be interesting to hear again. It definitely will be.
Yeah, I have the criminal complaint right here. 5 pages of it. So that's what we'll do. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll go back, and because remember what's in the probable cause affidavit, some of the stuff that she said during her interrogation is in that probable cause affidavit. And so, because I think as far as like documents go, Florida's pretty good at, records and stuff. But as far as what all I can do, what all evidence I can see is, I can see that they've, asked for discovery and, body worn camera, all that stuff. But I can't, they're not on, they're not all of the evidence is available,
Right.
So we're going to do the best we can and try to put it together and see what's what. And maybe we can, figure it out, because I'm far enough away and that's another thing that Sarah wanted. Sarah is convinced that the jury pool in Orange County is tainted. Orange County is actually a very big county.
Yeah.
It's a highly populated county. But
she makes good points, though, Bendy. I have to.
some of her points are good.
Yeah.
Some of her points are good.
Ludicrous as she is, when she argues that, she says specifically how many views, which I'm curious, you should get the damn calls for her, because someone's keeping her in the loop with how many views that video has on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Like, she was able to
You know
cite
what, though? She
one.
mentioned, that's another thing that she mentioned. She mentioned jail records and she mentioned jail calls. Now, y'all know, if there was even a single jail call of Sarah Boone's, that I would be all over that like white on rice.
Yep.
Okay. And, but I've never seen it. So, I think I'm gonna see what I can see, but I will say this as far as Sarah goes, and okay, while that video has a lot of views, the suitcase video does, and her interrogation video does. What Sarah's not keeping in mind is that represents views, not people.
Right. That's true.
So she needs to keep that in mind, number one. And because I think you guys do a little experiment. Ask people in your life that you're around in your day-to-day. Obviously, don't be going up to strangers on the street unless you feel comfortable doing that sort of thing. But ask them, how many people have heard of the Sarah Boone case? Ask them if they've ever heard about it. I think Sarah is laboring under the preconceived notion that because it's such an important case to her, that it's important to everybody. But I can assure you, it is a well-known case, but it's not as well-known as she thinks it is. If they can seat a jury in the trial against the former president, if they can seat a jury in the trial against Lori Vallow and Charles Vallow, or Charles Daybell,
even Letitia,
Chad Daybell, that I can't even think. It's Charles Vallow, Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow Daybell. If they can seat juries for them, if they can seat a jury for Letitia Stout, there have been much more widely publicized media they got. I also like to take an opportunity to point this out as well. They sat a jury for Casey Anthony. Granted, that was a change of venue. The jurors weren't from Orange County, but that's where the charges came out of, because Casey was in Orlando. That's Orange County, or she might have been Citrus. I can't remember. But regardless,
I'm changing venue for Boone.
There's no way, and that's what people. It's not easy to get a change of venue because it's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive, super expensive.
But you're right, because as big as, like, let's say with Koberger, right? I did ask people in my real life, or even with Letitia when it was going on, like, hey, have you heard about it? No. But to me, in my world, right, in our community, it's everywhere. Yeah, unless you follow that.
We could all pretty much go into any true crime creators chat and just ask, just say something like, shut up, Letitia. Or something about some tidbit about Letitia. And the majority of people in any chat that we were to go into in the true crime community would be familiar with Letitia Stout. However, if we were to haul our cookies over to, say, the knitting community and ask about Letitia Stout, how many people were over in the knitting community would know? Probably not as many. So I feel like Sarah, while I understand that she does have this right, she does have a right to a fair and impartial jury, and why that would be a concern for her. I understand why she's concerned, but I don't think it's a realistic concern. I think you're going to be just fine. Obviously, I can't even if, let's say they decided, okay, we're not going to have jurors from Orange County. We're going to have the jury pool come from Pasco County, which would be great, except for me, because I can't participate, obviously, because there's no way they're going to let me on a jury. Not in this case. A jury, yes, but obviously because I've covered it on my channel, and I've maybe roasted old Sarah Boone a time or two on her interrogation and some of her other like body cam footage and stuff like that. They're not going to pick me, but I don't think it would be necessary for them to get another jury. You're
Right.
exactly, RL. It's the thing of it is, it's that it's seeing that video, those two videos. When that is the biggest hurdle for any defense attorney. It would be hard for even some of the best defense attorneys to overcome.
Yes. It's a big task.
It's a huge task. It's very damning. So anyway, I want to thank you guys all for being here. And you've been on for a long time, Melissa, because you went on before me and you stuck it out with me for the last 2 hours and my crazy antics.
Look forward. No, I love this. And it's just refreshing because I love this. Well, see, it's hard to say that. I don't love the case versus I have an interest in this case.
Yes.
And
it is a fascinating case.
It's very interesting. And I like when you're not able to predict the outcome. And not saying that you always can, but versus I'm confused by this. And Sarah's not dumb, even though she is dumb at the same time, but she makes good arguments. And I think she's setting up something for down the line where she could potentially file an appeal or argue something if it comes back guilty, which I expect it to. But I've never seen this with the lawyers before. And so it's interesting watching how this process goes because I'm not super familiar with it.
Right.
But I like to hear people's feedback. I'm trying to figure out what defense, if I was a defense attorney, what defense would I go with? And it's really hard. Like you said, you could use your words, but that video, how can you get around that video? And you really can't play and put out your narrative when you are bound to what people are going to see.
Exactly. And see, that is the problem. I think that that's why what's the legal part of it is what is interesting to me about Sarah's case, because the amount of shenanigans that she's pulled, but at the same time, like, what are the legal ramifications? I will say that ineffective assistance of counsel is a difficult appeal to mount. It's not often successful. It's one of those things it's kind of difficult to prove. And so it's, I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know. It just freaking, I don't know. Now all I can think of is what RL Froze wrote in the chat. Now I've got it. Now my mind is thinking and I need to.
I know, right?
I need to know. I never thought about it like that.
Never. I didn't either. But that's why I would love to go through again everything that we know, go through his injuries, the arrest warrant, and try to see is that a possibility with what we know so far.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, I want to thank you guys all for being here, but first and foremost, thank you, Melissa, for coming up. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This was fun. This was fun.
And I look going deeper with you. Well, that sounded weird, but deeper into the case. That sounded so weird. But deeper into the case with you.
Mosquito says, Southerner here is drunk as Cooter Brown. Go ahead and argue with my granny. Listen, I'm from the South, and I've only ever heard it said, you're drunker than Cooter Brown. I've never heard it that way. But maybe
I've never heard it, period.
Maybe it's both. Maybe people can be as drunk as Cooter Brown, and then they go over the line and they get drunker than Cooter Brown. Maybe that's how it goes. I don't know, because I've only ever heard it drunker than Cooter Brown.
I
don't
only heard
know.
you say that saying once. I never heard anyone say it before, and I thought you meant, remember the Watts creator, Cooter Brown? I thought that's who you were talking about.
No, it is a southern phrase, but where I heard it, that made me think of it was it's in Urban Cowboy. Sissy says it to
Oh,
Bud.
John
Knock
Travolta.
it off, Bud, you drunken Cooter Brown.
Oh, how funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never heard
You
that
can't fight, you're drunker than Cooter Brown. Yeah.
saying.
When they're out there fighting.
Southerners have the best sayings, don't they?
Yeah, they do. We do. We say some stuff.
I love it. Well, thank you for having me on, Bendy, and I really look forward to
Thanks for
going
being up
forward
here.
and recapping and figuring this out. So
We're going to figure this out, you guys, as best we can. We'll get as close as we can until trial anyway. And then who knows? I'm always curious, though, when we do these kinds of things and then the trial comes out, how close we got. So it's interesting to me.
That's what I would like to know, too, if trial ever happens.
If it ever happens.
Right?
It has to happen because there's no way that I think the day for, I mean, I don't know. I just can't see I don't think Sarah's going to take a plea deal.
No, she's not taking a plea deal. She wants
no way
for it, and she's going to testify. You know she is.
Yeah, she is, and I have a feeling that the attorney is going to have a sort of a similar speech, like what's his name who had Murdoch? Oh gosh, he's the little curmudgeon that looks. What's his name? Not Griffin, the other one, Dick Harpootlian. I feel like, remember when Murdoch testified and Dick Harpootlian said it hurt his feelings? He told the judge he was going to testify and it hurt his feelings. I feel like whatever lawyer we hear from who's representing Sarah is going to say, "Now I told her ass not to do this, but here we go."
There's going to be a lot of memes. I know it already.
Oh God. Can you imagine the day she's going to testify? There is there's no talking her out of it. She's going to testify, y'all.
She wants her moment. And you know what? Every defendant has that right. But I don't think she is accounting for how this is going to go.
Yeah.
All right, Bendy. Thanks for having me on. Good night, Chad.
Good night, Melissa. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, babe.
Good night.
Right. Good
no
night,
malicious.
babe. No malicious. All right, you guys. I am going to get off of here. I'm tired. It's late for me anyway. And I will be back tomorrow with a better, more succinct game plan. Now I know what we're going to do, and I gotta give shout outs to RL Froze for that. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, because now you got my wheels a spinning, and now I'm kind of I want to look into that. So we're gonna explore that theory tomorrow night. I hope you guys will join me. The only way that might get changed is if we get an email from El Paso County Sheriff's Office and they have those new jail calls. If that happens, then obviously we'll be doing the jail calls. But if not, it'll be Boone, baby. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much. If you haven't done so, give your girl a thumbs up. Helps keep me in the algorithm, and I appreciate it. And I will talk to all of you guys later and see you tomorrow night. All right? Bye.